So here's a question for you. Would you benefit from ongoing support to improve your bottom line and ultimately help you master the business of practice ownership? Tracy Trapesky International offers you a proven, impeccably designed method to scale your practice while preserving your most precious assets, your time and energy. We blend business consulting with executive leadership to bring you what you need most to help you become an agile, entrepreneurial CEO while serving your patients with the utmost attention to their care. You receive individualized coaching and support from me and our professional team, providing the best of business consulting and executive leadership coaching to grow your practice without working more. Schedule your complimentary 45-minute strategy call at tracytrapesky.com. Welcome to Thriving Practice. I'm your host, Tracy Trapesky, and I can't wait to introduce you to our incredible guests and to share business tips and strategies that will help make your life easier and support you in becoming the exquisitely fulfilled CEO you're meant to be. I am on a mission to help practice owners take back one day per week for the rest of their careers so they can focus on healing their patients and maximizing their profits. No more sacrificing your personal life or feeling burnt out. It's time to take back control and create the practice of your dreams. Whether you're a seasoned provider or just starting out, this podcast is your go-to resource for actionable advice and inspiration. Together, we'll uncover the hidden potentials within your practice and propel you towards the success and freedom you crave. So, if you're ready to transform your practice, make a lasting impact, and reclaim that one day per week for yourself, then you're in the right place. Let's embark on this journey together. Have you ever considered that your big why, the deep connection you have to your values, the thing that gets you out of bed in the morning, the wind in your sails, so to speak, that is what can also be your North Star in building true wealth? Welcome to episode 105. It's me, Tracy, and today I have the pleasure of introducing you to a seasoned financial advisor and wealth management strategist, Debra Schatzki. Debra is a visionary who helps make dreams come true through meticulous planning and strategic collaboration. Debra shares that determining true wealth goes beyond the conventional definition of financial abundance. It's all about embracing the two sides of the hand, service and impact on one side, and money and finances on the other. In a world where most financial and wealth management firms focus solely on the numbers, Debra and her team at BPP Wealth take a different approach. They support their clients in quantifying and reaching their dreams and providing the guidance and tools necessary to align their clients' aspirations with their financial goals. Debra shares in our interview that by asking for what you really want, you'll start to see possibilities unfold. But it's crucial to have a deep why, a purpose that's intrinsically connected to your core values. So ask yourself, what legacy do you want to leave behind? What do you want your grandkids to know about your journey? Debra's focus is on health, wealth, and fun, what she considers the three pillars of a truly fulfilled life. As a business owner, it often feels like you're on an island, struggling to navigate the turbulent waters of entrepreneurship and business ownership. And that's why asking for help can be a huge act of courage and strength. Debra recently released a book called Chaos to Joy. It's about the inspiring stories of 5 incredible women who found the courage to ask for help during times of chaos and turmoil. Through their journeys, they experienced what Debra called stunningly beautiful outcomes that will touch your heart and ignite your own desire for transformation. Do click the link in the show notes to get your copy of the first chapter for free, and be sure to take advantage of the 10% savings that they're offering on the book that you can use that same link to access. It's in the show notes. So in our conversation, you're going to hear deep wisdom and guidance, and Debra invites you to redefine your concept of true wealth. This is an enlightening conversation, and Debra shared so many valuable lessons that will help you open the door to a life of abundance and fulfillment. Join us for this conversation and learn how to unlock your true wealth potential with Debra Schatzki. Debra, thank you so much for coming on the show.
It's really my pleasure, Tracy. Thank you so much for inviting me. I love the work you're doing. It is really important. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, one of the things, as I told you when we were in the green room, that really jumped out at me is just your approach to how you do what you do. Like that really stood out to me and my team. And so we're delighted to have you on the show. And I cannot wait to share your journey and what you bring to the table.
It's really, thank you so much for saying that, because it really is very different than what a lot of financial firms do. Because in most financial firms, everything is about money. And in our firm, it's not. In our firm, it's really everything about dreams, and really, really quantifying them, and really discovering what people want in their life, whether it's for themselves, their families, their health, their wealth, and their fun. But to actually stop them and have them voice. And it's really interesting to me because most people don't ask those questions. And for some clients, it's really, they have to breathe and step back because they're so used to just, when dealing in financial matters, numbers. And when somebody stops them and says, wait a second, we're going to get to the numbers, not a question. That's all part of it. But the main thing we want to know is, if you had nothing stopping you and you could accomplish anything you want, what would that be? Like, let's have some fun. And because we can quantify that, but let's have fun.
What a concept, to have fun with money.
Yeah, around finance. Yeah, exactly. Around money, around finance. What a difference, right?
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? And that's how some of them do, but it's really comes from, if we're going to go and create a financial plan for somebody, why would we do it out of quote unquote small goals and survival? And it's not to say that we don't do that. It just, I would rather find out for people, or let people see what it is they could have if they told us what they really wanted. It's amazing. And I have so many stories like that where, a client comes in and they actually ask us to do the plan, and they tell us what their dreams are. And the dreams could be, I just want my kids to be able to go to college and not have debt. Or I would love to have a home at the beach, or I'd love to travel around it's everybody's got different things. And what's so nice is that when you know what those dreams are and we can quantify them, all of a sudden people's financial plan becomes so much more interesting to them, because they can see that they really could accomplish it or not. But if they see they can't, they know what they could do in order to accomplish it. It's just a very different approach, and I find it much more meaningful.
It sounds so much like coaching.
No, it is.
Yeah.
There's no question. It's right on. And that's really our commitment. I have an all-woman team. Every one of my team members have really incredible degrees in thinking, not only degrees in accounting and law and things like that, but we all do different courses to really learn how to listen better, learn how, what does true wealth mean? What is the definition of true wealth? What is really core values? What does core value mean? And just, we try to listen and read a lot about, the why, what is your why?
I would imagine that helps people cut through the fear, the discomfort, kind of the weirdness around money. When you go from, if you could wave a magic wand and there were no obstacles, what would you choose? How would your life look? Because then people drop out of their brains into their hearts and get more connected to their why, to what's most important to them. And I would imagine it's easier in many ways for you and your team to work with your clients once they really connect to their values and their why.
There's no question. You can't change anything unless there's a behavioral shift.
Mm-hmm.
I really believe that. And I don't think that a behavioral shift could be numbers alone. So you can't say to somebody, you need to make or save blah 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 without really an understanding of, well, why is that important? Why? And it's got to be a deep why. Because if you can actually fantasize and see that there is really a reality around this dream, and I hate to say them dreams like fluff, I mean dreams that are really important, wants that are really important to you and to your family and to your life, and then we quantify them, the connection becomes very different.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you can see that, for example, like with some of the kids we work with, stop going to Starbucks every day. Little behavioral shifts can mean that you can save, quite a lot of money to have whatever it is that you put on your dream list. And I find that it's really much easier to do. And then the numbers are not so scary because for most people, they find financial planning to be, up there with speaking engagements, public speaking.
Nervous, nightmares, cold sweats, that kind of thing.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's like, oh my God, my credit card debt. I can't tell you about that.
Shame, a lot of shame around that, right? And we have
A lot of shame
a lot
around
of
that.
good built-in shame around wealth and poverty and money and scarcity and all of that in this country. You mentioned the definition of true wealth, and that really piqued my curiosity. What is there one definition of true wealth?
There's probably not one definition, but for many of us, Ron Nakamoto, who has really created a company called True Wealth, core values are what we find are critical for moving towards that quote unquote true wealth. Core values being that which you want your grandkids to really know were important to you. And it's so amazing to take people through that process. I can't tell you how many families we've actually been able to help stop the fighting over real small stuff
Mm.
and start the conversations and the teaching about really important true value things. And I find for most people, education for their grandchildren and their kids was always at the top of the list. But education also includes the stories that we have about our families and what got us to where we are. And
Yeah.
and and what are the key points about those stories? Because they're getting lost, that we want our generations to know about our family and how we were able to come to this country when we did with as little as we had, and what the generations that did what we did, and is there a work ethic associated with that? Is there a religion associated with that? And I'm finding that religion is less and less the priority as many people are very actively involved. And I'm not saying not to be actively involved in something you believe in, but I'm saying that all of a sudden spirituality becomes also part of it. And I love the fact that when you start to talk to especially grandparents about their grandkids, it's much easier to have these true value conversations and find out what's important. And many say the community. Well, what do you mean by the community? Well, I want to make an impact. I want my grandkids to know that we did this, this, and this in the community because, okay, let's tell that story.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want the grandkids to know that. And that's a really core part of the true wealth of what we've been doing. And I will tell you, it's just beautiful. At first, people are questioning what their real core values are. And then all of a sudden, when you line it up with grandchildren, it starts to spew out, because it's so much easier for people that one generation removed, and especially for grandkids, for them to be able to start saying, well, this was really important. This is how, Poppy or Opie or Grandpa or whatever, and I or Grandma, and we did it. These were the things that got us through, and this is our story.
Mm.
Very, very powerful.
And it's interesting that this is the focus. Obviously, you do the financial side of things, but that this is the focus that you bring. I have a friend who is a financial advisor, planner, and a wealth management, and she takes a very similar approach. And I think the two of you are the only two people who I've ever met who come at it from this angle. And it's refreshing, right? Financial wealth is important for many reasons, right? Or resources. But tapping into what's most important to us, I think, you use the Starbucks example. So for a young person, in the moment, Starbucks just sounds a lot more appealing than not having Starbucks. But if they're connected to a bigger why that runs deep for them, then they're like, maybe I could French press. Maybe I could, whatever. And so I really appreciate that perspective. I would imagine also that your clients stay very connected with you and your team, and that they appreciate and love working with you because of that, and likely reach most, if not all, of their goals because of the connection that you help them make to their goals, to their why.
Yeah, no, right on. And because it's also very different. We actually start off with finding out what their dreams are. I mean, that's critical. The true wealth takes a little time, because you really have to first, when you get on an airplane, they tell you to put your seatbelt on first before you put your children's seatbelt on. And there's a reason about that. And I find that for most of us being so busy that we don't have that pause to really talk about what's our dreams. What do we want for ourselves? What do we want for our families? What do we want for our health, wealth, fun? And we first start with that, because that's already difficult, is actually getting people to focus on something that they really haven't had the breath, or anybody has asked them, really. Like, if there were no obstacles, nothing could stop you. Let's just have fun. Let's just talk about this for a little bit. What would be your dream goals? And it's so interesting when you start off with that and get into the dialogue of priorities and putting yourself first and putting your family first, but not a priority. I want to have this amount of money, or I want to have this thing, but the priority of also the connection to the joy in your life and the family connection. And when you do that, it's easier to say no to the Starbucks, because you have a much bigger want. So for a kid, for a college kid, they may have a desire to get out of school debt free. That may be important to them, or as little debt as possible. And if they're shown, I mean, it's amazing how smart they are. And if they're shown that just having 2 Starbucks a week versus 7 Starbucks a week, that could get you this, they're like, okay, you know what? I can still have Starbucks, but I'm going to do it because the impact in my life of financial freedom is more fun for me. It's more enjoyable. But unless you have that connection, Trace, I find that it's hard for people to make a behavioral change.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and that's why we start with that.
It just makes so much sense. And to kind of piggyback on that, behavioral change is definitely not connected to shame or guilt or negativity. And so showing what's possible, I think, is the important piece. And I want to like take that and shift a little bit and talk about from the perspective of a business owner, and thinking about who our listeners are, practice owners, knowing what I know based on my work with practice owners. Prioritizing oneself and getting really clear about what's important to them can be really challenging, but it's magical when they get to that place and they make that connection, because then everything else starts to feel easier. It's as if the gates just open and angels start singing. Not exactly, but it's like it's so much easier. So I'm curious, what advice would you give to a business owner who's coming to you, or what questions might you ask to lead into the advice that you would give to them when they come to you and they say, yeah, I'm tired all the time. I work and blah, 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 but I've got this practice and it's making this much money, and I'm pretty sure I don't have enough for retirement. That's the
very
scenario.
Common question. Yeah, no, thank you for that, because it's really a very common situation, because business owners are so busy. It is, what is it, 80% of the population, the businesses are small entrepreneurial businesses. I mean, the amount of us in the world is so great. And the problem with us is that we are many times on an island. Many entrepreneurs work so hard that they don't take that breath for themselves to actually have coaches, because you can bear witness to yourself. I don't care how educated, spiritual you are. You need to have a conversation with professionals that will actually be able to show you in your communications what you're saying and what you're doing, and do they match? And I find that for most entrepreneurs, they don't, because it's what you talk about a lot in your coaching. They don't take time off. You get stuck in this really unbelievable web of just, honey, I'm saying it to my husband, I just have to work for a couple hours on Saturday. Oh, honey, I wasn't able to get that. We get stuck in this web of really doing everything. And we need to stop, prioritize, because we do have to make money. That's the purpose of being in business. I don't care what you say. If you are in business, the number one reason is to make an impact and make money. And I say them together, because that's what drives small business owners. We want to provide a service that's valuable. We are doing everything we can to try to make a difference in our lives and in the lives of others. But the problem is because owning a business is complicated many times, that we leave ourselves out of the mix, and we're working so much on our clients or our process or our service that we're leaving ourselves out. And that's where we come in and say, wait a second, let's just take a step back. Let us just work with you first to see what your impact is, what your financials are, and let's figure out solutions together that you will see. I mean, because business owners are incredibly brilliant. They'll figure out solutions once they see the problem. But when your face is down and you're just doing the work, it's hard. You can't see the problems. So when all of a sudden you have this breath and question, and you start to realize that there's an opportunity, wait a second, I can take time off. Wait a second, I can charge more money. Wait a second, I can charge for that too. I have other revenue streams that could be recurring. What do you mean? I never thought of that. And those are the kind of conversations I think that we all need. And that's the kind of reflection we all need regularly.
Yeah, what really stands out to me and what I'm hearing is slow down, pump the brakes. And I swear I've said this a few times in podcast interviews. I really need to go verify who said this, but it's a French philosopher, and it's, paraphrased. If all we're doing is aiming for the destination, we miss all the scenery along the way. Yeah. And that's that's part of the journey. That's part of the learning. We miss out on opportunities. And I don't want everybody running around with FOMO and going so slow that they think they're, going to find opportunities everywhere. But, just taking an opportunity, half hour, an hour, however long your initial conversation is with a client, it's like you get to exhale, you get to release all of the responsibility and just come back to who you are as a human and what you want for your family, for your legacy, for your grandchildren. Yeah, I think that's really lovely. You have a book.
I do have a book.
Tell us about your book, Chaos to Joy.
Chaos to Joy. It was, oh my God, such an unbelievable journey. I wanted to write a book for so long because I have so many incredible stories of crisis or chaos to joy, of clients coming in with really disastrous situations. And when given the clear opportunity, the clear view of what was important, what they had to do, and could actually start to move forward to get rid of the chaos and actually experience the joy, it's just stunning. So one of my clients, who is adorable, I mean, very successful, female, said that you should write a book and you should just interview all of your clients because you have so many incredible clients and so many unbelievable stories. So I said, it was like that light bulb just went off, and I'm like, oh my God, that's so much more interesting. Stories are, again, going back to what I said before, stories are what our families are starving for. You know what? Stories are also what the public's starving for. They want to know how to do things better or get ideas on how to have an easier, happier, fulfilling life. I mean, nobody wants to struggle and be alone and be in desperate situations, but we get there. We all get there. Yeah. And it's how long we stay there and who we surround ourselves with to get out of it is, our opportunity. We don't have to be in despair for long if we ask for help. We don't have to be alone if we ask for help. But for so many of us, when we are in that despair, we are embarrassed or we are uncomfortable with letting people know that we don't know how the heck to get out of this situation. And actually asking for help is the best thing we can ever do. And that's why I was so inspired by what she said, because I said that has always been my philosophy, is to provide a loud voice for people to actually realize they're okay. They just need to ask for help. Mm-hmm. And once we know your stories and your circumstance and what you're trying to do, it's unbelievable how the universe, and you mentioned this, will come together. It's really amazing. And so in this, in my book, it's 5 women, this book. The next book will be all men. But in this book, it's 5 women, and all of them really could not survive or accomplish what they wanted to. And you're talking about really educated people without really understanding what they needed to do, what they needed to make, and put value on that. And that's what the stories are. The stories are how they had to learn how to speak. And they needed the information, which women need more than men. They needed the factual information as to why they could ask for a $50,000 raise. I mean, $50,000, you gotta be kidding me. It's not asking for, a couple dollars an hour. But when you have this strong why, and it's coming from a place of love, not if you don't give me this, I'm out of here. Even though you may feel that way sometimes, it really matters. And so in the stories, it provides this incredible knowledge of when you know what to do, how magically fast you get out of your chaos. And what happens is the next thing you know is you're living your best life.
Wow, that's powerful. Really powerful. Gosh, I mean, I've so enjoyed our conversation. I think there's a lot to take away. Do you have any last parting advice you'd like to share with our listeners?
I'd say the most important thing for all of us is to really again, ask for help. Find people. I mean, there's so many. I mean, we're privileged to live in a country where there's so many planners and consultants and coaches. There are so many good ones. And why would any of us want to do it by ourselves? I mean, the business consulting, it's so easy for me to look at numbers. We just had a couple clients transition their businesses, and they were scared beyond belief because the only thing they knew in their lives was their businesses. And now they were selling them. One was to a VC, one was to employees. All happened this month. And it's really scary because you're now on the other side of giving away everything you knew, your identity. And the fact is you're not. You're just having an opportunity for a new chapter. And they actually had us. We were part of the team connected through either a relative or working with them for years. So they actually had us already on their payroll. But the difference is that they were able to do it with such elegance and class. And I think that that's really available for everybody. It's just about just taking that step, finding the people that are going to coach us and help us to accomplish what's really important. That's really it. I mean, we can do it, and we can all do it together.
I love that. I believe my philosophy is asking for help is a great act of courage, and it's a sign of strength. And so, yeah, and we're stronger and better together. We really are. You know, this it's great to be an individual. I think that's really important to have our own strengths. But when we lock arms with people who have our backs, I think it just makes all the difference. So I love what you're doing. I so appreciate how you do it. Everybody go get this book, Chaos to Joy. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Debra. Just really, really appreciate it.
I love what you're doing, like I said. And we also will give a 10% discount for anybody that's listening to your show when they write Tracy 10 in the when they go on, because they'll have an opportunity to go on our website and get the first chapter of our book for free for any of your listeners. And the first chapter is so meaty that I think it will be very useful for anybody who reads it. But I wanted to let you know that we are thrilled to do that, and for you and for your just for the gift of everything that you do. So they just need to go to our website, which is www.B for build, P for protect, P for protect wealth.com. And, you know, it's our goal to train and provide people with as much power. In addition, in our book, the last part of the book is our onboarding documents, and we give them away to everybody. So you can actually do your whole plan with our onboarding documents in the book. It's amazing how in depth they are and how simple, because we've really tried to make it for anybody, any age, be able to think through the process that we have and give people the information that's powerful and meaningful for them to think through their plans and start giving them everything they need.
Lovely. Thank you. We will make sure to share that link in the show notes to make it really easy for our listeners. Debra, thank you again so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Thriving Practice. I appreciate you. And I have an ask. If you got value from this show, make sure to share it. You can give a shout out on social media or tell your friends and colleagues about it. You can also subscribe so you never miss a show. To learn more about how we work with practice owners to help them take back their time, head over to tracytrupesky.com. While you're there, sign up for our newsletter, which has tips and tools for your practice success. A special thanks to our incredible team, and thanks to you, our dear listener, for sharing the gift of your time and attention. I wish you so much success as you continue to move forward in your day. If I can be a resource to you, let's schedule a time to talk. You can find the scheduling link on our website.